Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blue Jay Acres. Thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Noelle, and today it's just going to be a talk, an explanation of where we've been and what's been going on. Sorry, it is bright. Hold on, I think I'm going to put up the umbrella so it's not so bright. Okay, I think that helps some. So this is just going to be a fast talk. Well, probably not too fast, but what's been going on. Kind of left you guys saying I had some stuff going on with my mom and we had to have our dog put down, really without any explanations about anything. It was just a really hard time for us. We were dealing with a lot. So I thought I would explain and just kind of say where I'm going to go from here. So first came the dog. As far as the dog goes, she has been aggressive, and I've told you guys this on numerous occasions, that she is very aggressive towards anybody outside of the family. So for the last 2 years, sorry, I've got animals like everywhere out here. I just kind of see things walking around. I got Luke over swinging. So the last 2 years, anytime anybody comes over to the house, or Luke's therapist, friends, family, anybody, we have to make sure that she's locked up with a muzzle because she will attack, viciously attack. She broke the door to our stall, our barn stall, trying to attack my brother when he came to town, and he had just wanted to see her, and this was 2 years ago. So we have to keep her locked up. So what happened was, sorry, so much swimming in my head, I'm trying to think about it all and get it all out right. So what happened was she started to get aggressive, very protective of Ronnie. Don't know why she chose Ronnie, but she chose Ronnie. And she got so protective of everybody. So we couldn't go in Ronnie's room or she would get mad and start growling and like acting like she wanted to come at us. So we stayed out of Ronnie's room. We announced that we were coming so Ronnie could get a muzzle on her. And then she went after Luke when they were outside. Oh, I swear I thought I heard the kitten. She went after Luke while they were outside. Ronnie was just playing with him and running. We were out here with her, and she hadn't been aggressive at all if we were outside Ronnie's room. And she went after him just because Ronnie was playing with him. And Ronnie threw herself in front of him. I was watching from the kitchen, so I couldn't even get out in time. So thank goodness Ronnie did. And we had to put her up, and we called the vet. And they said there's just nothing to be done. She's gonna have to be put down. She's just too aggressive, and now it's dangerous for the family and for everybody. So we took, I'd say, almost a month before we did it. We called every shelter that we could. We called everywhere that we could, everywhere around here, and everybody said there's no way, nobody will take her. She's a Great Dane and she's aggressive. Last place, they finally said if she was a Chihuahua, that's one thing. You're talking a Great Dane. That's just, we can't do it. There's nobody is going to do it. It doesn't matter how many people you call. So we made the appointment then to have her put down before somebody gets hurt. So at the same time that that's going on, when we called and we made the appointment, we had a week and we were kind of waiting till the girls came home so everybody could go together. Kate and Theo did not go with us. They did not want to go with us. Kate did not want Theo to understand it. As far as Theo knows, she's just at the doctor because she's sick. Luke was not going. He doesn't understand all of that. And so Charles stayed with Luke while I took all the girls, and we just FaceTimed with Katie so that she could say her goodbyes and everything. And my son called, you know, to let her hear his voice. It was a really sad time, and I'm gonna cry probably talking to you guys, but it was a really sad time. But the week that we made the appointment, we had to also, we had a call from my mom. That was, I think it was the week before, and she said that she went for her routine mammogram and that they found 2 lumps that needed to be biopsied, one in her breast, one in her armpit. So she had her biopsy done a few days before we went to take the dog. So that Thursday, we went on a Friday. The Thursday before the dog, Luke also got sick. And that's when I had told you guys, put up the video that we were having just some stuff going on, and that Luke was also sick. And I forget what else I told you, but anyway, so that morning, my mother called me that Friday morning. And we also had to call the doctor, and we had to make an appointment on Friday to get Luke in. So we had an appointment with the dog at noon, and then I had to be at the doctor with Luke at 2. I met Charles at the doctor with Luke at 2. My mom called me that morning at about 10 o'clock, and she had gotten off the phone with the doctor, and she was crying, and it came back cancer in her lymph nodes and in her breast. So it was such an emotional day. So we went and we had the dog put down, and that was so hard. And the whole time the vet is telling us, you know, we did the right thing. We had a really hard time with that. Of course, she'd been with us for almost 3 years, and you know, we adored her. And my mom had went to her sister, so I actually didn't even see my mom Friday. I just talked to her on the phone. We went straight from the dog and everybody crying to Luke's doctor appointment. And I left the girls in the car. They were all crying and heartbroken. And I went in with the doctor, and Luke had been acting like his throat was hurting, and he's had strep a couple times now this year, so we just figured it was strep again. And she looked in his ears and said, "What have you done?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I put Play-Doh, pink sparkly Play-Doh in my ear." Well, he had been having meltdowns for about a month, and I just couldn't figure out what was going on. Nobody could figure out what was going on, because we had not been having them like at all in almost a year. And to just all of a sudden we're having them. Well, apparently he'd been in pain, and we didn't know, and he doesn't know how to vocalize that it hurts. And so she tried to flush it out, and it had caused an infection. And it had been in there so long, the wax built up around it, so she couldn't get it flushed out. So she said, okay. And she got us to go back home. We're gonna do these eardrops, try and break up the wax, and then we'll try and flush it again. And if that doesn't work, then we need to take him to Children's and have him sedated so that they can pull it out. And meanwhile, he's on antibiotics to help with the infection. And within 2 days, he was like, "I feel so much better. I'm not even grumpy." It's like, broke my heart, because he'd been in pain for so long. So we had to go back on a Tuesday. Well, that was the same Tuesday that I was meeting with my mother, with the oncologist and the surgeon. So we were there for hours. We were an hour with the surgeon, an hour with the oncologist. And then we went, from there I went to take Luke, or meet for Luke to be at the doctor. And thank goodness she was able to flush it out, and that went good. So he was so excited and happy he didn't have to go to another doctor. So backtracking though, back to that Friday. So that Friday, when all of this went down, I called my brother, and my mom didn't want my brother to know. And I asked him, you know, I told him what was going on, and that Tuesday we were gonna see the oncologist and the surgeon and find out what's going on, what the next steps are. So he came from Georgia to stay with us until Tuesday. So I didn't really have any filming. We surprised her. Oh, she cried and cried. It was so precious. And so I didn't have a way, you know, it wasn't a time to film. It just wasn't a time to film and bring out a camera. And so then we met with the oncologist and the doctor, the surgeon, and the surgeon said the lump in her breast is only the size of a pea, which is fabulous. And the one though under her arm is the size of an apricot. And she's surprised that Mom didn't feel it. Mom said, "Well, I was sore under my arm, but I just thought I pulled a muscle because I've been moving stuff around." And so she said, "I didn't really think too much of it." So they said, "Well, what we need to do is we need to shrink that. And so we're gonna do chemo first. And then she is also something called HER positive, which is how the cancer grows. It has 3 protein receptors that it can have: a progesterone, a estrogen, and a HER protein. And the HER protein is what makes it a fast growing cancer. and that is what she had. Hers was growing with the her protein and the progesterone. So she has to have her treatment for a year, every 3 weeks for a year, to try and knock that out. But also a CAT scan had to be done and an MRI had to be done, because if it's in the lymph node, they said the breast cancer typically goes to 3 places. It goes to either your brain, your bones, or your liver. So they needed to make sure all of that was clear. Also, she had to have an echocardiogram, because her treatment can be hard on the heart. So needed to make sure her heart was in good health before starting, and she will have to be closely monitored throughout this year. The 12 months that we're going to do this, she will have to be closely monitored to make sure that her heart is not being hurt by it too much. And if it does get hurt too much, then they said then we just back off for a month and then we resume. And they said only 5% of people do we have to even do that, and of that 5% of people, only 2% of that 5% have permanent heart damage. Which does not sound good to me. I mean, it does and it doesn't. It's a very small percentage, but you know, still a risk. And so anyway, so she did go have her CAT scan and her MRI and her CAT scan, her bone scan, and her echocardiogram, and all were good, which is wonderful news. So now it's just a matter of trying to shrink the tumor enough and to treat it so that it doesn't spread at all. So that is why they're going to aggressively start the chemo. And the chemo just sounds horrid. And they said it will be a very strong chemo. Whenever it's in the lymph nodes, they have to be very aggressive with their treatment and hit with the strongest chemo that they can, especially if it has the HER positive. So he said the first treatment will be 6 hours. We sit at chemo every 3rd Wednesday, and he said after the first treatment all her hair will fall out. So she's been kind of bracing for that, and I'll go shave her head so it doesn't come out like in big clumps. I got cats. There's one, there's Simba, there's Goose. I don't know if the camera picked it up and you could see him or not. So he said she's gonna get sores in her mouth, a lot of vomiting and sickness through all of that. So we will just be taking care of her. She wants to stay at her house, which if you've been with me for a while, she actually just moved out of my house not long ago. But she wants to stay there. So she's gonna stay, and I think Brooke is gonna be the main one staying with her, maybe Ronnie some. And basically what he said is what's gonna happen is the first week after chemo is going to be awful, and she's gonna feel really, really sick. And then the second week, she's gonna feel like she's coming out of the flu, kind of sick. She'll be tired and just not really feel like doing anything. And then the 3rd week, she should be back to feeling good. And then we start all over again, and she'll go back to week 1 feeling awful. And then week 2 starting to feel a little better. So I'm going to be cooking all her food and taking it to her. She lives an hour away, so we'll be in the car a lot. Budget-wise, definitely is gonna change my budget. I'm not even gonna care. Whatever she wants, I'm gonna make it. So if it means I'm spending $20 on a meal, I'll spend $20 on a meal. As far as that goes, because it'll just kind of be, what does she feel like eating? And I said, if you want lasagna every day, I'll make you lasagna every day. That's one of her favorites. And then I'll be there multiple times. I figure I will probably go every other day. I also, during the summer, I have Luke's therapies that are continuing. So we have therapy 3 days a week, and we have a group 1 day a week. And this is also the last summer we're going to have together with all my girls, which is why we were so focused on having it a wonderful summer, because Ash is enlisting. So it's just such an emotional time. But as far as videos go, we will be, I'm going to film, because that's actually kind of normal feeling to me, and it kind of gives me something that is steady and helps maybe take my mind off of some of it. So I'm not going to quit filming. Just when I miss a day here or there, it's probably going to be a harder day, and I'm not going to know when those are going to hit. I know my stress is calming down some now that the CAT scan and everything came back positive, or you know, in a good way, clear of everything. We're working. Charles took the next 10 days off. We're working a lot trying to get everything ready here because I have a lot of therapists that are going to be coming to the house. We're still going to go to Kings Island once a week because we got a pass and we need a day a week to just go have some fun. And one of my aunts will stay with my mom during that time if she needs somebody, so that we can just go one day a week and just have some fun. I still have to call my son. He doesn't know yet. I'm gonna call him as soon as I make this video for you guys. I need to call him. And yeah, that pretty much, I think, sums it up, what's been going on and why I haven't been here. Like I said, it's just been a crazy, crazy hard time for us. And a lot to take in. The kids have had their friends over a lot. Try and just help them have fun and cope. And in fact, the last of the friends is leaving, I believe, today. We've had friends nonstop over. My aunt, my mom's sister, ironically, a month ago got diagnosed with breast cancer. And she's already had surgery and she will be starting chemo. So her chemo, though, will be different. But they still, like every 3 weeks, we'll get to sit together. Which is very weird. Bizarre, but kind of a nice thing for the both of them to have somebody. And I will be there obviously as much as I can. One person is allowed at a time in chemo though, so we'll see how much I can be there, but I'll definitely be there every time. So it's just a lot on our plate right now, but we definitely will continue to film. In fact, Charles has been filming the last 3-4 days for you guys. We're getting everything ready. We're gonna plant tonight. I've already labeled, we made a drawing of where we're gonna put all of our seeds, and I've wrote all that down. Sorry, my brain is still, I'm very scatterbrained right now. Wrote all that down, and we've got all that we're gonna get planted today, and I'm gonna share that with you guys. I'll film that tonight, and we'll share getting the garden beds ready and planting and all the plans we have. We're hosting a couple big events in July here at the house. We're hosting a family reunion. My mom and my aunt should feel like it, and it's mostly immediate family anyway, so all my aunts and uncles and cousins and people that will be around them anyway. And we'll have a big 4th of July bash here for everybody. And then we're also hosting a work party of Charles's, like a work picnic here in July. So we're trying to also get everything ready here for all of that. So we got a lot of home renovations we're doing, a lot of stuff outside we're doing. So we'll be sharing all of that with you guys as well. And I was gonna cook twice a week, but now I'm gonna be cooking pretty much every day starting after June the 6th. So I will be sharing a lot more cooking than I thought I was gonna be sharing with you guys as well. So I will have videos up as often as I possibly can. And just know that if I have a hard day here or there and I'm just not able to, we are good, and that's just gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen, especially like the day I shaved my mom's head, and there's gonna be some just hard days ahead, and you know, but we will get through it all, and I will share as much as I can with you guys. So thank you guys so much for being patient and for sending all of your love and prayers, and please keep them coming for my mother. She goes through this really hard time, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye everybody. Have a great day or night wherever you are.